There's a stretch of interstate up north they call Exit 44. Nobody official uses that name, you won't find it listed that way on a map, and GPS just labels it Scenic Detour, but people around here avoid it. Especially after midnight. It's just an ordinary highway exit that branches off into darker wooded roads, but for decades drivers have gone missing after taking it. They never skid, never crash, never call for help. Their cars are found parked safely on the shoulder with the driver still belted in, eyes wide open, as if they simply froze and never came back to themselves. Autopsies are always inconclusive. Some reports list heart failure, even when the victims were healthy teenagers. Locals don't say they died of fear. They say something else slipped inside the car with them, something that doesn't need roads or headlights to move. People call it the passenger. They don't agree on what it is exactly, ghost, spirit, something older. But everyone agrees on one thing: if you drive past that exit after midnight, don't look in the rearview mirror. I used to think it was just highway folklore until this past winter, when I finished a late shift and started the long drive home. It was close to 12:30 AM and the roads were nearly empty. I wasn't tired, I wasn't distracted, and I definitely wasn't lost. But out of nowhere my Jeep's rerouted itself. The screen flickered, zoomed out, and then zoomed back in with a calm voice instructing me to turn right onto Exit 44. I hadn't touched anything. I wasn't even using navigation. I checked my phone, no signal, but the voice kept speaking through the car speakers as if it knew exactly where I was going. At first I tried laughing it off. Bad software, glitching cell tower, whatever. But the closer I got to that exit, the quieter the car seemed to become, like the entire world outside had stopped breathing. No wind, no distant engines, no music from other cars, just darkness pressing against the windows. Then, in the edge of my headlights, I saw what looked like someone standing by the guardrail. A figure, thin, impossibly tall, and completely still, like a streetlight pole wearing a coat. I didn't slow down, I didn't even turn my head, I just kept my eyes locked on the road. But the moment I passed the exit sign, the interior light above me blinked on for half a second, and I heard the unmistakable sound of someone breathing in the back seat. Slow, drawn-out breaths, as if someone was leaning close behind me and trying not to be noticed. The air felt cold against my neck, too cold I could feel each exhale brushing the back of my head like damp fingers. I wanted to look. Every instinct insisted I turn and check the back seat. But something deeper, older, told me not to. I don't know how long I drove without blinking, but eventually I heard something whisper so close to my ear that my skin crawled. It was one word, soft, but heavy with expectation. Merge. That's the last thing I remember clearly. I must have made it home somehow, because when morning came my car was parked in the driveway, keys still in the ignition. The dashcam footage was corrupted except for one frame, a blurred image of the back seat taken at exactly midnight. And in that frozen frame, my rearview mirror reflected a face that wasn't mine. The next day, I told myself I had just imagined the whole thing. Long shifts can do strange things to your brain. Hallucinations, phantom sounds, whatever. I convinced myself I must have fallen half asleep and driven home on autopilot. But that explanation lasted only until I reviewed the dashcam footage on my laptop. Most of the drive was normal, just darkness and passing highway reflectors. But at 12:12, the video glitched. The entire image dissolved into static for a few seconds, then returned with the camera pointed slightly higher, as if something had physically tilted it upward. The road ahead looked the same, but there was something wrong with the lighting. It was too dim, even for night. It looked like the headlights were fading into fog, but there was no fog when I drove. Each second the video progressed, the footage became more washed out, as if the camera lens was fogging from the inside. Then at exactly 12:42, the picture froze, just stopped. It wasn't the end of the file, the video timeline continued, but every frame after that was the exact same still image. The back window, my head silhouetted in the driver's seat, and the glossy rectangle of the rearview mirror. At first glance nothing seemed unusual, but when I leaned closer I noticed something reflected in the mirror. Not clearly, more like a face pressed too close to glass, slightly out of focus. Pale skin, unnaturally smooth features, and eyes that were wide open but didn't seem to have pupils. No nose, no expression, just a blank stare rising behind my shoulder, as if someone was sitting upright in the back seat. When I scrubbed frame by frame, the reflection seemed to change position. It leaned forward, then sideways, almost like the face was relocating itself every few frames, slowly closing the distance between us. I shut the laptop so fast it snapped. My hands were shaking and I kept glancing over my shoulder like something was standing behind me. I tried to replay the footage later that afternoon, but the file corrupted the moment I opened it. No backup, no thumbnail, nothing. I tried everything: data recovery, cloud sync, external drives. Every version was gone. Later that evening, curiosity finally pushed me to search up Exit 44 online. Most result pages were boring: construction reports, traffic detours, nothing helpful. But buried deep in a forgotten forum thread from 10 years ago, I found a discussion about midnight merge sightings. At first I thought it was just ghost story junk, but then someone posted a description that matched mine too closely to ignore. They mentioned a tall figure standing by the guardrail after midnight, a voice whispering through the car speakers, and something breathing behind them even when they were alone. Someone else commented that it wasn't a ghost at all, but a territorial presence that travels inside vehicles. Another user insisted you should never look in the mirror or answer a navigation prompt after midnight, especially if the GPS reroutes itself. The most disturbing post came from an anonymous user claiming they had been a tow truck driver assigned to accidents on Exit 44. They said every vehicle they responded to had an interior mirror turned toward the back seat, as if the driver had looked behind them in their final moments. It doesn't want the road, they wrote. It wants the seat next to you. That night I barely slept. I kept listening for breathing every time I closed my eyes. Eventually exhaustion knocked me out, but sometime after 3 a.m, my phone vibrated with a notification. Not a call, just a single GPS prompt from a navigation app I never installed. It was short, simple. Continue on your route. I checked the app history the next morning. There was no record of any notification. I didn't want to believe any of it. Obviously. The internet is full of people trying to scare each other, and I kept telling myself I was just tired. But 2 evenings after reading those posts, I got a message from someone claiming they had seen my dashcam screenshot. I hadn't uploaded it anywhere publicly, so that alone froze my blood a little. The message didn't come from email or social media. It came through a cloud sync notification I didn't recognize, like someone had patched directly into my backup. The message said only one thing: you should delete your mirrors. I tried to block the sender, but the message wouldn't go away. Every few minutes the notification returned. Same text, same suggestion. Eventually, I closed my laptop and paced around the apartment. I started noticing small reflections everywhere. Darkened windows, the microwave door, even the black screen of my TV. Any reflective surface made me nervous, because every time I glanced at something that held a faint reflection, I felt like the angle was wrong, like I was seeing a part of the room that didn't exist. By the next night, I was paranoid enough that I taped a towel over the bathroom mirror. Even then, I swore I heard breathing behind me when I brushed my teeth, like someone waiting just beyond where the reflection should be. I went to bed disgusted with myself. I had let a highway rumour get inside my head. The next morning, I called the local highway department and asked about Exit 44 maintenance records. After some stubborn questioning, a tired clerk finally admitted that the exit isn't on any official route sheet, and according to their system, it technically doesn't exist. The exit, she said, has no active markers. When I pressed her, she lowered her voice and said, "Sir, we don't assign crews out there anymore. If you see that exit, don't take it. That's all I can say." That night, I took a walk to clear my head. When I got back, I saw someone standing near my parked car across the street, a tall figure, thin, motionless, facing the driver's door. At first I thought it was a reflection in someone's window, but the shape didn't distort like reflections do. It was solid, like a person standing very still. I blinked hard, and when my eyes focused, the figure was gone. My chest tightened. I crossed the street, unlocked the front door, and went inside as fast as I could without looking back. 2 hours later, I heard my car alarm chirp, like someone had pressed the unlock button from outside. When I checked the window, the headlights were on. Just the headlights. No engine, no interior lights. The beams were pointed directly at my apartment window, like the car was staring up at me. My key fob was in my hand. I hadn't touched anything. I watched from behind the curtains for a long time. Eventually the lights shut off on their own. I thought about calling the police, but what would I have said? My car looked at me, so I stayed up all night, sitting on my bed, too afraid to close my eyes. Around 3:17 a.m, I heard a vibration near my nightstand. My phone screen lit up with the navigation app again, this time with directions already active. Head east, use exit 44. There was no start button, no destination menu, just a moving blue arrow guiding a route I hadn't requested. Worse, the map showed my car icon already rolling down the interstate, even though I knew my car was parked outside, but the blue arrow kept progressing like the map wasn't showing where I was, only where I was supposed to be. The route ended in just 2 words: merge now. The moment the navigation ended, my apartment went silent. No traffic outside, no hum from the fridge, nothing. Just the faintest sense that something was waiting in the dark corners of the room, patiently watching for me to acknowledge it. I haven't driven since. I avoid windows after sunset. I've unplugged every reflective device in the apartment. Television, monitor, phone screen facing down. Every night I hear something breathing quietly, like a passenger waiting for a ride I'm refusing to give. The only reason I'm writing this now is to warn you. If your GPS ever reroutes onto exit 44, especially after midnight, don't follow it. Do not look in the rearview mirror. Do not slow down. And whatever you do, don't listen if something whispers behind you. Because once the passenger chooses you, the exits aren't meant for leaving anymore. They're for letting something else in.